Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stay wealthy regardless of what the stock market does, what the inflation rate is, or who is in office? The top 1% don't get rich by luck, and they certainly don't stay rich by following common financial advice. They manage their money fundamentally differently from everyone else. While most people are caught in a cycle of earning more, just to spend more, chasing the latest trends and reacting to the news, the truly wealthy are playing a completely different game. They aren't looking for hot tips. They are building fortresses. In 2026, we are seeing a massive shift. With high interest rates becoming the new normal and economic volatility at an all-time high, the gap between those who understand money and those who don't is widening. Today, I'm breaking down the exact blueprint the top 1% use to manage their capital. We're moving past the basics. I'm going to show you the practical, high-level steps you can implement right now, no matter where you're starting, to manage your money like an elite investor. Let's dive in. The average person gets their paycheck and immediately starts distributing it to others: the landlord, the car company, the grocery store, and the streaming services. If there's anything left at the end of the month, which there rarely is, they save it. The 1% do the exact opposite. They use what I call a reverse budget. Before a single bill is paid, they automatically move 20%, 30%, or even 50% of their income into investment vehicles. They treat wealth building as their most important, non-negotiable bill. By moving the money out of their reach immediately, they force themselves to live on the remainder. This creates a psychological constraint that breeds discipline. In 2026, with automation tools at your fingertips, there is no excuse not to have the system running in the background of your life. There is a massive difference between looking rich and being wealthy. The 1% understand that every dollar spent on a depreciating asset, like a brand new luxury SUV or designer clothes, is a dollar that can never earn interest for them again. You've heard of lifestyle creep, but the 1% practice lifestyle lag. When their business takes off or they get a massive promotion, they maintain their current standard of living for 2 to 3 years before making any upgrades. This lag allows them to dump massive amounts of capital into assets while their income is high. They drive the 5-year-old car, they live in the modest house, and they let their net worth explode in silence. Real wealth is the money you don't see. Most people focus on their salary, their active income. The 1% are obsessed with their net worth. They understand that a high salary can vanish tomorrow, but a diversified portfolio of assets provides permanent security. Every month, the wealthy track their assets, what they own that makes money, minus their liabilities, what they owe. If that number isn't moving up, they aren't winning. In 2026, income is taxed at the highest rates. Wealth, however, capital gains and dividends, is often taxed much more favorably. The goal isn't just to make $200 a year, it's to own $2 million in assets that pay you while you sleep. To the average person, all debt is scary. To the 1%, debt is a tool if used correctly. Bad debt: credit cards, payday loans, and high-interest car notes. These are wealth destroyers. They compound against you. Good debt: low-interest loans used to acquire income-producing assets. The wealthy use leverage. They might borrow at 6% to invest in a business or real estate project that returns 12%. They are effectively using the bank's money to create a 6% spread for themselves. However, in 2026's high-rate environment, the 1% are more cautious than ever. They are deleveraging, paying off anything with a floating interest rate, and holding on to fixed-rate good debt that was locked in years ago. Aggressive, sophisticated investing. The 1% don't dabble in the markets. They invest with a thesis. While they utilize low-cost index funds for their core foundation, the beta, they also look for alpha outperformance. They diversify across public markets, S&P 500, international equities; real estate, physical property or REITs for cash flow and tax depreciation; private equity/venture, investing in small businesses or startups. They understand that the biggest risk isn't the market going down, it's the risk of their money losing its purchasing power to inflation. They stay invested, they stay diversified, and they never panic sell. Building wealth is hard. Keeping it is harder. The 1% spend a significant amount of time on asset protection. This isn't just about insurance, though they have plenty of it: umbrella policies, life insurance, disability. It's about legal structures. They use LLCs to hold their rental properties so a lawsuit at one house doesn't take their personal home. They use trusts to ensure their wealth passes to the next generation without being decimated by probate or estate taxes. In 2026, privacy is a form of protection. The wealthy don't put their names on everything. They let their entities own the assets while they control the entities. Relying on one paycheck is mathematically dangerous. The 1% create an ecosystem of income. Imagine your finances like a table. A table with one leg, a job, is easy to knock over. A table with 5 legs, dividends, rental income, a side business, royalties, and a salary, is nearly impossible to topple. In an era of AI-driven job displacement, having a side hustle isn't just a trend, it's a survival requirement. The wealthy always have at least 3 to 4 different sources of cash flow. The 1% are learning machines. They don't watch the news for entertainment, they study the markets for opportunity. They understand how tax laws are changing in 2026. They understand how sticky inflation affects different asset classes. They surround themselves with a council of advisors, CPAs, attorneys, and mentors, who are smarter than them. They know that a $1,000 course or a $50 book that teaches them a new tax strategy can save them $50,000 in the long run. Mastering the 2026 tax code, the wealthy don't look at taxes as a yearly chore. They look at them as a year-round strategy. They maximize every legal loophole. Tax-advantaged accounts, 401ks, IRAs, and HSAs are filled to the brim. Tax loss harvesting, selling losing investments to offset the gains from winners. Deductions. They structure their lives so that many of their expenses, travel for business, home offices, equipment, are tax deductible. In 2006, smart tax planning is essentially a guaranteed return on your money. The 20-year horizon. The 1% don't care about what happens this week. They don't care about the daily noise of the stock market. They think in decades. They know that real generational wealth is built over 10, 20, and 30 years. This long-term perspective allows them to be patient when everyone else is panicking. They avoid the get-rich-quick traps because they know that get-rich-surely is a much better bet. You don't need $1 million to start managing your money like the 1%. You just need their systems. Here is your 90-day challenge to pivot your financial life. 1. Audit your net worth. Use a spreadsheet or an app. List everything you own and everything you owe. This is your starting line. Track it every 30 days. 2. The 20% rule. Set up an automatic transfer for the day you get paid. If 20% feels too high, start with 10% and increase it by 1% every month. 3. Kill the bad debt. Pick your highest interest credit card and attack it with everything you've got. 4. The one more stream. In the next 90 days, find one way to make $100 outside of your job. Sell something, consult, or start a micro business. Prove to yourself that you can create income. 5. Educate. Read one book on tax strategy or asset protection this month. Managing money like the 1% isn't about being better, it's about being more disciplined. The systems I've described today work because they are based on math and human psychology, not luck. If you are willing to stay consistent while everyone else is looking for shortcuts, you will eventually find yourself in a position of total financial power. In 2026, the world is loud and the economy is confusing. But these principles are your true north. Start small, but start today. If this deep dive gave you a new perspective on how to handle your capital, make sure to hit that like button. It helps us keep the lights on here at the Academy. Subscribe to CK Wealth Academy and join a community of people who are tired of the average life and are ready to master their finances. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss our next breakdown on 2026 investment strategies. Comment below, which 1% habit are you implementing first? I'm going to be in the comments answering questions and cheering you on. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not personalized financial, investment, or tax advice. Always do your own research and consult with qualified professionals for your specific situation. Thanks for watching. Stop managing your money like everyone else and start managing it like the 1%. I'll see you in the next video.